Before I start, I just want to say that I am recording a lot of these at once, and that's why I'm in the same place wearing the same clothes. One thing that I love about Hakuoki is that it's really not good guys versus bad guys. It's a lot more complicated than that. The Shinsengumi assassinated Ito because Saito said that Ito wanted to assassinate Kondo, so they're going to kill Ito first. It's not Ito is the bad guy and we're such tragic victims. It's he wants to kill one of us, so we're going to kill him first. The Shinsengumi are not portrayed as better than Ito. They're both using the same tactics. Nobody here is morally better than the other. They both want what they think is best, and they're both willing to go to some pretty dark places to achieve it. It's a lot more complicated than that. There's history and politics involved, and other assassinations, and there's a lot. But the important detail is that Ito wants to kill Kondo, so the Shinsengumi kill Ito first. Miki finds him and is very upset about it, as he would be, and swears revenge against the Shinsengumi. Which, again, Ito wants to kill Kondo, so the Shinsengumi kill Ito, and now Miki, his brother, wants to kill the Shinsengumi. If anything, I feel more for Miki, because of this assassination business, it's really not personal, it's tactical. But Miki is upset, and he's acting emotionally. He's a lot more sensitive, I would argue, than people give him credit for. He shows up at the Shinsengumi compound, ready to attack the first person he sees, who just so happens to be Souma, and he's just slashing wildly. He's not really going into it with any sort of plan, compared to the plan of getting Ito drunk to lower his inhibitions, and then kill him when he can't fight back. Like, that's clever, that's sneaky and clever. But Miki, he's so distraught that he's just lashing out. He just wants the people who did this to his brother dead. He's not, like, he can't even think at the moment, you know? And that really sticks with me. We are following this story from the Shinsengumi's point of view. We spend a lot of time with them. We care about what happens to them, and we're genuinely sad when they die. But at the same time, you can't help but feel for Miki. And it's interesting watching his final fight against Souma and not wanting either of them to win. Because I don't want Miki to kill Souma, and I don't want Souma to kill Miki. But luckily, neither of those things has to happen. I just love that we spend all this time with the Shinsengumi, but we're not really told these people are right and these people are wrong, because it is so much more complicated than that. I could go on, and one day I would absolutely love to. I'd love to just do a full, oh God knows how long, analysis video of Souma's route, because it's one of just the best in my opinion. But what's important right now is about how it ends. Miki fights until he just can't anymore, and he stops. And Souma could very easily end him right there and then. And that's what Miki wanted. He's here at this point trying to commit suicide by samurai, because he's just so tired, but Souma doesn't kill him. I'm using the musical as a reference point right now because it's just the best thing in the world. Souma says, "You want to die, don't you?" And Miki says, "So what if I do? My brother's dead, so are my friends, and the guardians of the Imperial Tomb tossed me aside. Hijikata, Saito, Harada, all those bastards I wanted to kill with my own hands. Every single one of them went and died on their own. What's the point of living? After being forced to become this fury against my will, what's even the point? I'm not someone who's supposed to lead or stand above others anymore. I'm trying so hard to refrain from going full analysis mode, but I will one day." Souma then puts away his katana, and Miki says, "You're not going to kill me." And Souma says, "It seems you're like me, born under a star that curses us to outlive so many of our friends." I'm having to look around my phone for what it says. We don't know what the future holds, so why not try living a bit longer? After all, the Shinsengumi you hated so much are gone. But Miki shakes his head and says, "Live a bit longer. Sounds like a hassle," and walks away. When Souma joined the Shinsengumi, he gained a lot. He went through life as a samurai, really unhappy. Nobody he was with was passionate. But the Shinsengumi were, and he finally found his place. Meanwhile, the Shinsengumi that gave Souma so much took everything away from Miki, and he became consumed with revenge of killing the Shinsengumi. That's all he cared about, and he didn't even get to do that. He didn't even get to kill the Shinsengumi, not because they stopped him, but because others came and did it first. Still, he tried, really hard. And he at least contributed to some deaths. Souma has every right to be mad at him, but he acknowledges that no matter how hard it is for him, no matter how hard it is for him to have lost his friends, it's almost a relief to Miki that they're gone. The Shinsengumi being dead is devastating to Souma, but it can set Miki free, and maybe he can try and live his own life now that he's not bound by that need of revenge. Speaks volumes about Souma's character, that he's able to identify with Miki, understand what he's going through, and even see how similar they are. He's not going after Miki for everything he did. He's simply acknowledging that they've both lost people they care about. But instead of being tied so deeply to the past, why don't we try and live for the future? Souma handled that so well. You know who didn't handle that well? You know who didn't handle this almost exact situation well? Horobi has just broken free from the Ark, because trying to make him kill his son was a bit too far. He's completely lost and doesn't know how to emotion. He's had 12 years of the Ark in his head. He doesn't exactly have emotional experiences in the bank, you know? He doesn't know how to handle the situation. He doesn't know how to handle anything. He hasn't had the opportunity to learn how to. You know, that really important thing that we do as kids. He hasn't had that. There's no possible way for him to know how to handle things. And so here he is having a panic attack so clearly. And he's trying to leave. Credit to him, he's trying to leave. But Izu keeps grabbing him, physically grabbing him, stopping him from leaving. So, with it very clear that walking away is not an option, Horobi then and only then shoots Izu. You know, Izu, who has super speed and had plenty of time to run away. And there are a lot of people just around, you know? Like, there's Jin and Fua and Yua. Nobody's trying to stop this. So Horobi, who does not have the capacity to handle things, and I'm actually very proud of for trying to walk away first, like, eventually can only do what the Ark taught him to do, and shoot Izu, who is a Humagear, and should have a backup. And Horobi has no reason to believe she doesn't have a backup, because why doesn't she, Aruto? Because inanimate objects and company secrets are more important than the life of the person you care so much about. Yeah, no, I totally believe you love her so much. So Izu dies, and Aruto, who is already pretty overpowered, grabs an Ark key he does not need. And Aruto, who does have the capacity to process and understand emotions, hunts Horobi down. You know, Horobi, traumatized abuse victim, hunts him down, attacks him, and kills Jin, his son, in the process. Horobi, whose entire life revolves around Jin, is naturally distraught that his son died in his arms and then exploded and then had pieces of him land on his back and is now in the middle of the flaming remains of his child. And then Horobi and Aruto fight. And Aruto yells at Horobi because his trauma was making Izu sad. And he wasn't healing fast enough. And this has nothing to do with this particular video, actually, but Horobi wants Humagear to be free. At the moment he's broken free from the Ark, Aruto's like, hey, wanna come work for the company? Like, as soon as Horobi is free, he's barely even had time to breathe, and Aruto is already assigning work for him. How is Horobi supposed to react? Like, Aruto instantly proves to Horobi why this is still a fight worth fighting. But anyway, Horobi openly states that Horobi, he's the one who should die, and he fights Aruto to the point of a rider kick, and then stops defending himself, and just prepares for death. But Aruto doesn't kill him, because now Horobi acknowledges he deserves to die. Aruto decides he should actually live, because Aruto says so. And Horobi asks why Aruto won't kill him. And Aruto says that there isn't a need anymore. I'm sorry, excuse me. There was never a need to. There was never a reason to. And in terms of the fight that Harubi is starting, you, Aruto, the human person, does not get to decide when that particular fight doesn't need fighting anymore. I'm pretty sure it does, but there's never a need to kill Harubi ever in the entire series, ever. What are you talking about? So, the similarities here are that Harubi and Miki suffer a huge loss, end up in a fight with the protagonist because of it, fight their opponent to the point of a potentially fatal blow, and then stop defending themselves in the hopes they'll be killed, and then ask, why didn't you kill me? Where these two characters diverge is that Souma is urging Miki to live, whereas Aruto is allowing Harubi. Souma is reaching out to Miki, but Aruto is talking down to Harubi. There's even visual differences where both Harubi and Miki end up injured on the floor, but Souma goes and crouches down to be on the same level as Miki, whereas Aruto is stood up with his back to Harubi the entire time. Aruto saying we're both Kamen Riders is just so empty, because what does that even mean? Souma acknowledges how much Miki has suffered. Aruto yells at Harubi for not caring that his trauma was upsetting Izu and he wasn't healing fast enough. He should heal fast enough and get over his PTSD because it's making poor Izu sad. Souma acknowledges that they've both suffered losses. Aruto only wants to focus on losing his secretary Izu. Doesn't even seem to care that Harubi lost his son Jin. Aruto is not prepared to accept. Souma accepts that the Shinsengumi hurt Miki, but Aruto is not prepared to accept that he hurt Harubi. Not the same scene, but immediately after Harubi broke free, Aruto's there trying to assign work to him, whereas Souma tells Miki, we don't know what the future holds, so why not try living a bit longer? Love Souma so much. Aruto winds me up. Aruto simply tells Harubi there's no reason to fight anymore, whereas Souma kind of says that there's no reason to fight anymore, but explains why. Aruto just says, is there even a reason to anymore? Whereas Souma kneels down or crouches down in front of Miki, reaches out to him and explains that the Shinsengumi you hated so much are gone now. Like, there's no need, you don't have to continue anymore, and making it out to be, you are free from this revenge mission now, so you should try and go and live your own life, whatever that may be. Not trying to tell him what to do, just trying to urge him to live, and that is so different. Do I acknowledge the sudden costume change or not? This is embarrassing. I don't know how to make up